Hello and welcome to Queer Abbey, a weekly chat show that is performed, it's recorded, and it's produced by yours truly, Trabi Masazabi. Hi, welcome to episode 16 of Queer Abbey. I welcome you and I appreciate you joining me here. 16 weeks, and can you even believe that nonsense? I can't. Well, let's get right into it. I've been having a pretty good week. I give it like a 7 out of 10. I have been working. I went and did some fun stuff. I had some drama with like people from school, which I'm not going to get entirely into and be like a huge messy bitch, but I have a little bit to say about that. I went and saw my friend in a show, which was really, really fun. They played with their band, Earl Gracious, which has been featured on the show before. So that's very, very cool. They have some new music that's going to be coming out in the future. So hook back and check them out if you would. And yeah, my friend Katie was performing with them. They did a great job. It was really fun. The thing about living in the real world is sometimes you have to deal with people you don't fucking like, unfortunately. And I have developed some negative relationships with people from Portland State University, unfortunately. I have had a difficult time going to music school there. I've not been shy about this if you know me personally. And so nowadays, when I go out and go to shows or like jazz related things in Portland, it's not unlikely that I'll run into people that I have like history with. And it makes it sound like I have some sort of like reputation or something. I don't, but like I got kicked out of the jazz program at Portland State University, and the faculty that like run the program openly don't like me and like talk about it with students and stuff like that. So very professional of them, I know. And so I'm basically ostracized by the entirety of like the music department at Portland State, and it's really awkward for me. I don't think ostracized is a strong word because nobody cares that much about my personal life, but there's basically all of these people who look at me all cunty and avoid me and have unfollowed me on Instagram because I'm bad PR for them or something. So anyway, that is something that has taught me that people can be fake as hell, and that even if you're friends with somebody for 3 years in college, it doesn't necessarily mean that they care about your well-being or want to foster a friendship for the long term. I sound bitter because I am. Yeah. Anyway, I still had a good time even though I encountered people that I didn't like, and that feels like personal growth for me because it can be really easy for me to be consumed by feeling like I like anger or shame or those kinds of uncomfortable emotions. And what I did was I acknowledged that I was upset and I just lived with it. And so that was kind of a nice experience in a way. I went last night to a little gay bar and sat and had a drink. I've really been going to the bar recently. I don't necessarily love how that sounds out loud, but I've been having a good time, and I've been a little bit more adventurous, going on little like solo dates and stuff. So anyhow, these are some recent events in Wilson's life. Seeing my cohorts perform always gets me really, really excited to make my own music, because it's like, yes, this is the thing that's being done. I would like to do it too, and so I will. I really want to hold myself accountable to composing just straightforward music. Like, it doesn't have to be my magnum opus every time, but writing like, I don't know, minimally a song every month, maybe once a week. I don't need it to be something that I'm churning out because I don't ever want music to be like a complete commodity to me, you know? But I can hold myself accountable to learning how to be better at writing music and having things that I can share with other people that are meaningful to me, like full-length songs and everything. So that's a vibe. It's so important to find the things that make you proud like that. So for me right now, it's striving to make and compose songs that I think sound good. But what does that mean for you? You know, are you working on yourself and the way that you feel, your outlook on life? Are you working on your home, maybe? Or your relationships with others? There's a lot of things that we can be working on in life. It's very, very Virgo season of me to be talking about life that way. Like, what are you working on? Where's your attention going? But that's sort of the mood for Virgo season, redirecting all of our energy into the most efficient pathways. Speaking of pathways, I was discussing, discussing makes it sound kind of highbrow. I was musing about and wondering about the brain earlier today, and hearing and how all of that is connected. Studying music production, I have a little bit of knowledge about the physics of sound. And the way that we perceive the world is so interesting. You know, we have our 5 senses that we use to paint this picture for ourselves of our surroundings. I'm getting a little bit out there right now, so just stay with me for a second. And our hearing is one of the ways that we get information, right? We've got ear holes. But it's not often that we stop and think about what is going on, all of the finite workings of sound waves moving through the air, because we just interpret language and sounds all day long. We do it from birth, and we learn how to do it reflexively. But our ear is a really, really finely tuned mechanism. The cochlea is like this nasty snail looking that's not nasty, but it's the part of your ear that like vibrates basically and takes these sound waves and transmutes them into information. So your ear literally like vibrates and then sends an electrical signal. It gets transmuted into electrical energy, and that is sent through your brain, which is so interesting to me. That happens with every single sound that you're interpreting or hearing ever. So sound waves themselves, I hope this isn't hopelessly boring to everybody. I find this interesting. I'll wrap it up pretty quick. Sound waves, they're movement of air molecules like brushing up against one another. And so like a sound that's really loud is basically like air molecules slapping against each other with momentous force. And the more that pressure is in the air, the more pressure it has, the louder a sound is. So in audio engineering, loudness, quote unquote, is often referred to as sound pressure, SPL, sound pressure level, because what it is the pressure in the air changing in a very specific route. Basically, that's what a sound wave is. We call it sound because that's how we interpret it and sense it and everything, but it's really a kinetic force that's occurring in the environment, and we're interpreting it almost like as if the air was our spider web and we are the spiders interpreting the vibrations of our web. That's how our hearing works, really. Our cochlea is that spider web that's buzzing and giving us information about where something is, about how loud it is, what pitch it is. All of these things we're interpreting in just a mere second, basically, which is amazing. And it goes to show how miraculous that anatomy and nature can be. Oh, cool. Yep, hearing. I am always happy to go on rants about that, by the way. Another thing that people might know about me, see, bitch, I actually really love music and music theory, and one comment that the jazz faculty made to me that was both a compliment and extremely hurtful was that I'm really good at music on paper, and it's like surprising that I'm not as good like at performing as I am on paper. So I guess I take that as I will. Everybody knows I'm good at music theory. There's that. I can cling to that. Oh God. Isn't that a terrible thing to be told? You're good at this on paper. Oh God. I cannot wait to get my degree and just be a bitter Betty and hopefully obtain more success than the people who told me I'm not good at the thing that I like to do. I need to like quell my revenge fantasy that I have, but to be honest and very vulnerable with the listeners of my podcast, I think about it all the time where I'm like, why do people feel so comfortable just overlooking me, you know? I'm a Cancer. I really am very emotional, and I can be really sensitive about the way that life goes, about how I'm being perceived. And anyway, I feel kind of betrayed by many of the peers that I have in school, and I often think about how I am perseverant and resilient, and how I will just keep going, and I have hopes that will amount to something one day, you know? Bitch, I feel like Naruto. I may not be handed anything on a platter. Unfortunately, I have to go to my job fucking 4 or 5 days a week while I do this music school endeavor, but I think that resilience is going to pay off for me one day, because I have learned how to be consistent. I've learned how to back myself up and stand up for myself and pay for shit and pay the bills. And yeah, I don't want to internalize those ideals like the person who works the hardest wins. That's not how life is, but I do know how to work hard. That's something that I can do if I want to and I need to. And I don't think that's the case for everybody. You know, I think a lot of people have overlooked me because, you know, we don't all have a perfect understanding of each other. And if I'm going to have some grace for the people I go to school with, maybe my big emotions make people uncomfortable, and it's on them if they don't want to understand that or understand me. It's so corny what I'm saying right now, but it's been therapeutic to accept that these corny things can be true for me sometimes. Like, I don't need the approval of people I go to school with. They don't have fucking jobs, and that's why they're better at jazz music than me, because they get to spend 8 hours a day practicing, and I don't get to do that. So, yeah. One day I'll catch up, and I'll be better for it, and I am a better person too. So, yay! That was my bitter tirade that lasted for 10 minutes. So thank you for listening. What if we got onto a little bit of advice? You want advice from me, from Bitter Betty? Let's get into it. Alrighty, children, welcome to the advice segment. Let us get into a little bit of advisory for the week. This first submission is from an anonymous caller that asked, Queer Abbey, what is the male equivalent of flowers? My boyfriend always has small gifts for me when he sees me, so I want to get him something, but I have no clue what to get him. Please help. Well, I'm going to point out the obvious, gender bias in this question. The male equivalent of flowers is flowers, just so you know. You are always welcome to get your man some flowers, and I really don't think that there's anything weird about that. But you do you. If that feels effeminate to you, then maybe you get him some antlers and you wrap it up in a bouquet like they're flowers. Maybe that's the male equivalent of flowers. Maybe you take a bunch of paper towels and you soak them in urinal fluids. You take urinal cakes and you tie them all together in like a little bouquet for him. That is the male equivalent of flowers. You could take pipe cleaners and clean out your bong with it, and then tie them all together and wrap them up in a bouquet. And that is the male equivalent of flowers. You could find some dead animal pelts and some manly Mountain Dew cans and some other really manly stuff, some snuff, some camel snuff, and you take all those things and you put them in a box because bouquets are fucking gay. And then after you get all those things in the fucking box, you just throw it away because you don't need gifts because you're a man. So that could be like a nice male equivalent to flowers for you. Or tiger lilies might be nice. I think that baby's breath and roses is a little overdone, right? But it can be cute. Really, on a real note, getting men flowers, maybe that's how we heal the world. Because I know that little boys all grow up thinking that they're not supposed to like flowers, and that's why they turn into such cunts when they grow up. So, yeah, get your boyfriend flowers. ask him what kind of flowers he would like. Maybe he'd surprisingly have an answer. And if he avoids it and is like, oh no, I don't like flowers, then surprise him. So be it, right? And if he takes it as an insult that you got him flowers, then break up with him because fuck that guy. All right, there you go. Tiger lilies. Next. This next submission says, Queer Abbey. Is it inappropriate to not wear a bra in and around my college campus? I typically don't like wearing a bra because I have sensory issues. I find them super uncomfortable, so I just don't wear one. Correct me if I'm wrong, but bras were invented for women with larger breasts to hold them up and support their back. Mine wouldn't be considered large, and they also sit up, so I don't need support in any of them areas. The way that was written, it just reads that way. I don't see the point in me wearing one when the benefits of wearing one don't concern me. So would it be inappropriate to continue not wearing one to college and around the campus? Or would you suggest I invest in nipple covers? Okay, that's an interesting ending there. So I presume that you're asking because there's some sort, there's discomfort. You're assuming you might be making people uncomfortable by having your nipples showing. But I truly would say if you have the bravery, just fucking who cares? Don't wear a bra. Let your nipples show. I have pierced nipples, and people are always fucking looking at me like I'm weird while they're staring at my nipples, and then they look up at me like I'm a pervert. Like, bitch, okay, just because I have metal bars in my nipples doesn't mean you need to stare at them. Like, if people cannot control their impulses and responses, that is truly their responsibility, and it doesn't make you weird. It makes them weird if they can't stop looking at your tits. So don't wear a bra. You should literally do whatever makes you the most comfortable, and I don't think that women should even have to wear shirts. Unfortunately, the world we live in, the damage control we have to do to prevent being assaulted is insane, disgusting, because there's no accountability for the people who would be the perpetrators of these crimes, mostly men, right? Okay, going on a tangent here, though. Not wearing a bra, if that's something you feel comfortable doing, don't wear a bra. If it's not helping you feel healthy, if it's not helping you feel good about yourself aesthetically, it doesn't matter. I am in this really weird spot now because I have been on HRT, my little moans, for like 3 months now. It's about aligned with the time that I started doing this podcast, funny enough, so it's a helpful way to remind myself how long I've been taking the estradiol for. And so I'm starting to grow tits, basically, is where I'm getting here. And I have, like, little mosquito bite titties that have formed on my chest. And it's just at the point where there's enough fat gathering there that, like, it jiggles when I step. And it looks like I kind of have tiny little tits under my shirt when I don't have it a second layer under there. And I feel a little funny now. I'm like, oh, bitch, yeah, maybe I do need to, like, kind of do something to enshroud my protruding breasts. But I mean, it's truly just internalized shame, because I feel the same thing that you do, where I'm like, I don't want to make anyone uncomfortable, but I really don't want to wear a bra at this time for myself, like going to work every day, because it's not comfortable. I don't want to. It's not doing anything for me. It's really just like a modesty shield for somebody else. So usually I wear an undershirt under my shirt, and that does a little bit of like constricting. But yeah, if it's something that just makes you feel good, you should do it, and you should not ultimately be that concerned with other people's priorities like that. Let your nipples out. I think women should, I was trying to get there earlier, women should be able to just walk around topless. That would be my ideal world, but I understand why that's not like an immediate desire of a lot of women. We live in a very backwards world sometimes, where it's like, oh, don't be naked because someone might assault you. It's like, okay, well, I was fucking born naked. Like, I have to put clothes on. How backwards is that? In order to prevent something from happening, I have to do something. How about we just don't do the thing? Ooh. Let's move on to the next question. So this next one, our last prompt for this evening, is from a third anonymous caller, and it says, Queer Abbey. Is it normal that I've been going to the bar more than twice a week with friends? Okay, that's quite succinct. I like it. I like when they're to the point and it's like one question. So, yeah, I think that's normal. Yeah, but I don't know what's abnormal about that. Are you like 75? I think that would be abnormal if you were 75. Are you under 21? Because then I think that would be abnormal. We live in a world where virtue signaling is so fucking prevalent and everybody thinks that they need to be sober because it's what the next person is doing. Bitch, if you like going to the bar twice a week and it's like fun for you, then do it. And then you can stop doing it if it's not helpful for you. You don't have to be like everybody else and be temperate or structured in the same way that everybody else is. Some people are alcoholics and they do not need to be at the bar at all, right? But those are those people and you are you. Maybe you're an alcoholic. And if that's the case, then maybe you should meter it down a little bit. I have to say, there's kind of a fair chance that maybe it is an issue for you because you're asking me, right? But you would know that and I don't know that for you. If you feel guilty about going there and you're asking me why it's normal because it feels abnormal, then you should stop. Maybe I can be the one to tell you. You have a problem, Bethany. You're done. You need to stop going to the Lucky Dog Tavern twice a week. I see you going in there, and I see you leaving plastered and getting in your Honda Civic and driving home. You bitch. Just kidding. I don't know a Bethany. But if that's you, then stop, girl. You're hurting this family. If it's just fun and cute, like I went to the bar twice this week and I had a good time both times. One time it was to go see a show, and the other time it was to try a little beverage and hang out with other gay people. And that's fine. You know, especially queer people, a lot of queer spaces are just tethered to bars because that's where we've had to exist because we are seen as so perverse and stuff. Like gay bars are really like the hub of the AMAB gay community, at least. And yeah, it's a little problematic, but sometimes bars are the place that things happen at, so maybe that's why you're there, because it's fun. Either get your life together or just be nice to yourself. Maybe one of those two things could be helpful for you. And hopefully that's helpful, because that is the end of the advice segment for this week. I very much appreciate your tuning in or listening all the way to this part of the episode. That means that you're quite invested, actually. And I really like that. That's quite nice of you to be so invested in my podcast. So if you'd like to be on here, you could go ahead and leave us an anonymous submission if you click the link that's in the description. Or you could go ahead and contact our phone number, which is going to be 503-567-2053. Or if you're kind of old school, maybe you want to send us an email. Our email is going to be queerabbey@gmail.com. Alright? So thanks for listening. Go ahead and submit your stories. And yep, let's move on to our musical spotlight for the week. Amazing. I hope that you can understand me when I'm talking in my shitty Scottish accent. Or do you like it when they do it a little bit more Welsh? I think it sounds a little bit more Welsh when they do it like this, like kind of breathy. Is that nice? Is that better? So this week we're going to be featuring someone who I know pretty well, actually. Oh, I got a text message. That's so nice. For the musical spotlight this week, we have somebody who I know pretty well. Their name is Ryon on Spotify, and they have just released this lovely EP that has a bunch of their instrumental tracks that they've composed and produced themselves. It is on Spotify, and it is called Petrichor, which, for those of you who don't know, is this very lovely word that refers to the smell after it rains, right? So how poetic is that? All of the track titles are these very fun and kind of whimsical words. And yeah, it's all the work of this one person named Ryon, and it's fantastic. So I listened through it today, and I decided to share with you this sort of ominous cinematic track that they composed. It reminds me of stuff that I've been making recently, so I thought that was kind of cool. This song is titled Resonance, and it is, yeah, kind of spooky. The instrumentation is very spacious and synthy and stringy, ambient for sure. And there's like this hypnotic music box-like thing that's going on in the background. So anyway, let's just get right into it. This is going to be Resonance from the album Petrichor by Ryon. Ooh, spooky music. Spooky music time. Yeah, I could really envision a lot of things happening and unfolding along to this music as I'm listening to it. It's really lovely to listen to with some good earbuds or headphones because there's all of these little details like that crackly fire sound that's happening in the background, all these little high crispy frequencies that are accenting this really spacious ambient kind of texture. So yeah, very spooky, Halloweeny, smoky. All of those words come to mind. I can hear those little minor arpeggios. Da ba 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 bum ba 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 bum 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 bum. Very spooky minor time. So good job to Ryon, my coworker. You rock, and I appreciate you being willing to kind of last minute get on this podcast. So like always, this song is going to be linked in the episode description, so go ahead and check out the rest of the Petrichor album, the EP, and give it some love. Yeah, my God, you guys. Well, that's going to be just about everything that I've got for you this week. We talked about some of my personal drama, we discussed the physics of sound, and we listened to some really cool new music. So what more could you fucking ask for? Stop being so selfish, okay? That's enough. I'm unhinged this week. I'm sorry. I'll see you next week for another episode of Queer Abbey, and I hope that you have a very gay week until then. I'll see you next Sunday. Bye now.